May 1st, 1968. The Adriatic Sea, off the coast of Italy. A man stands on a platform in the middle of the ocean and raises a flag. Not the Italian flag, not any flag anyone recognizes. His own flag. He declares the platform beneath his feet an independent nation. He appoints himself president. He issues currency. He prints stamps. He makes Esperanto the official language. And for 55 glorious days, his country exists. Then, on June 25th, 1968, the Italian government sends the military. They don't negotiate. They don't recognize his independence. They occupy the platform. And 7 months later, on February 11, 1969, Italian Navy divers strap explosives to the structure and blow it into the sea. This is the story of the Republic of Rose Island, the shortest-lived independent nation in modern history, built by one eccentric engineer who asked a very simple question: why not? Let's start with the man who built his own country. His name was Giorgio Rosa. Born in Bologna in 1925, Rosa was an engineer with a lifelong obsession: autonomy. He didn't like rules. He didn't like governments. He didn't like being told what he could or couldn't do. So in 1958, he had an idea. What if he built a platform in the ocean, outside Italian territorial waters, where he could do whatever he wanted? At the time, Italy's territorial waters extended only 6 nautical miles from the coast. Anything beyond that was international waters. So Rosa designed a structure that would sit 11.6 kilometers, about 7.2 miles, offshore, just outside Italian jurisdiction, a legal no man's land. He spent nearly a decade planning, designing, and funding the construction. The platform would be 400 square meters, about 4,300 square feet. Not huge, but big enough. It would be supported by 9 hollow steel pylons, each designed to be floated out to sea, filled with water to sink them vertically into the seabed, and then reinforced with concrete. The design was brilliant. The pylons would anchor themselves through sheer weight, like self-tapping screws, as his son Lorenzo later described it. Steel tubes were inserted into the pylons for extra stability and load-bearing capacity, much like rebar in reinforced concrete. Rosa even planned for the structure to be modular, adding 1 additional story each construction season. By 1967, after years of work and thousands of dollars of his own money, the platform was complete. It had a restaurant, a bar, a nightclub, a souvenir shop, a post office. It even had an aquifer drill that reached 280 meters below the seabed to provide fresh water. And on May 1st, 1968, Giorgio Rosa declared it an independent nation. He called it the Esperanto Respublico della Insulo della Rosa, the Esperanto Republic of Rose Island. Esperanto, a constructed international language, was the official language. The currency was the mill, linked to the Italian lira. The island issued its own postage stamps, including one showing its location in the Adriatic. Rosa was president. So, what was life like on Rose Island? According to those who visited, it was a party. The platform was only a 20-minute boat ride from the beaches of Rimini, a popular Italian tourist town. Visitors flocked to the island. They came for the novelty. They came for the bar. They came because it was outside Italian jurisdiction, which meant at least in theory, Italian laws didn't apply. Rumors began to swirl. Some said Rose Island was a tax haven. Some said it was a casino. Some said it was running a pirate radio station. Others claimed it was a brothel. A few conspiracy theorists even suggested it was a Soviet submarine base or the center of an international spy ring. None of these were true, but the myths grew, and the Italian government was paying attention. From the moment Rosa declared independence, the Italian government saw Rose Island as a problem, not a charming experiment, not a quirky tourist attraction, a threat. The official accusation? Rosa was running a business to profit from tourism while evading Italian taxes. But there were deeper fears. This was 1968, the height of the Cold War. Italy was paranoid about communist infiltration, Soviet espionage, and unregulated activities in the Adriatic. A platform outside Italian jurisdiction, run by a man who refused to recognize government authority? That was unacceptable. The government had actually asked Rosa to stop construction back in 1966, claiming the area was under concession to the state-owned energy company Eni. Rosa ignored them. When he declared independence in May 1968, the government's patience ran out. On June 24, 1968, Rosa held a press conference announcing Rose Island to the public. The next day, June 25, 1968, exactly 55 days after the Declaration of Independence, Italian police forces landed on the platform, the Carabinieri, the Guardia di Finanza. They didn't ask permission, they just took control. Rosa and his supporters protested. They argued the platform was in international waters. Italy had no jurisdiction. The government didn't care. They set up a naval blockade around the island, preventing anyone from docking. For months, Rose Island sat occupied but intact. Then, on February 11, 1969, the Italian Navy made its move. Divers swam beneath the platform and strapped explosives to the 9 steel pylons. At 7 a.m., they detonated the charges. The Republic of Rose Island was blown apart and sank to the bottom of the Adriatic Sea. Giorgio Rosa watched from shore as his dream disappeared beneath the waves. Interestingly, some accounts suggest the platform didn't fully collapse from the explosives alone. On February 26, 1969, just 2 weeks after the demolition attempt, a powerful storm swept through the Adriatic. The weakened structure finally gave way and collapsed completely. So what happened to Giorgio Rosa? He never built another island. He lived quietly in Bologna for the rest of his life, working as an engineer. He died in March 2017 at the age of 92. His son, Lorenzo Rosa, later said his father never regretted what he'd done. In fact, when a documentary filmmaker asked him why he built Rose Island, Rosa responded simply, "Why not?" That attitude, the refusal to accept that something couldn't be done just because it was unconventional, defined his entire life. In 2009, scuba divers rediscovered the wreckage of Rose Island on the seabed at a depth of 13 meters. They found pieces of brickwork, iron bars, and remnants of the structure. One diver even gifted a brick from the wreck to Lorenzo Rosa as a memento of his father's dream. In 2020, Netflix released a film called Rose Island, L'incredibile storia dell'Isola delle Rose, bringing Giorgio Rosa's story to a global audience. It's a feel-good story about rebellion, creativity, and the audacity to dream big. Rose Island has become an inspiration for modern seasteading movements, efforts to create floating, self-sustaining communities outside traditional government control, entrepreneurs, and libertarians continue to explore ideas similar to Rosa's, imagining autonomous cities on the open seas. So here's what we learned. For 55 days, the Republic of Rose Island was real. Then the Italian government sent the military, occupied the platform, and blew it up. The point wasn't to create a permanent country. The point was to prove it could be done, to show that one person with enough creativity, determination, and audacity could challenge the system, even if just for 55 days.